Trail talk time. Out on another beauty of a trail. Just breathing in that fresh chi. Enjoying this beautiful sunny day today. Absolutely gorgeous out. And today I wanted to talk about emotions and expressing our emotions in healthy ways and learning how to let that all flow instead of keeping it all inside. You know, so often in our lives, we are suppressing our emotions. You know, we're keeping it all bottled up. And when we do that, we start to create these blockages, right? These energetic blockages. You know, as Infinite Waters on YouTube says, the emotion is just the energy in motion. And so when we're not expressing it and we're suppressing these emotions, they're getting stuck within us. And it starts to affect our energy levels, right? We don't have that proper flow. And it's like, you know, putting giant boulders into a river and it's blocking the water from flowing, right? That's what all of these suppressed emotions are like within our body. And so we need to be able to, you know, let those things go and really express whatever we're feeling at the time. And I know sometimes it's tough because, especially, you know, when we're growing up, when we're young, a lot of our parents have sort of shunned us or punished us for expressing certain emotions and feelings, whether it be when we're crying or, you know, if we're really angry. Those two especially, you know, they've been deemed as these negative things that you're not really supposed to be expressing at certain times, right? Or maybe even ever. And that's certainly not healthy. You know, everybody feels sad sometimes. Everybody feels angry sometimes. That's all part of this beautiful dance of life. You know, I've spoken so much about how we wouldn't even know what happiness is if there weren't the other emotions like sadness. And so it's just silly to think that there can only be certain emotions for you to express or that are okay, right? Maybe we were punished and called a bad boy or a bad girl or whatever at times when we were just showing our sadness or showing our anger or frustration. And that might have, you know, carried on into our lives now. And we might carry some judgment towards ourselves and towards our emotions and feelings and start to think, wow, I'm a bad person just for feeling this, right? And that's so untrue. You know, we're just like little kids. We're not going to somehow magically be perfect at any point in our lives. And so there'll still probably be moments where these things arise. And we have to learn to accept it right there in the moment and love ourselves regardless of what we're going through and what we're feeling internally. And I think it's so healthy to learn how to express those things without that judgment, right? Seeing them all as valuable, as, you know, a beautiful part of yourself. And you realize that when you can do that in the moment, when you can really be with those emotions, when you can really sit with them and, you know, just accept them all, then they'll naturally, you know, be expressed more freely and you'll let them just flow right through you. They won't be stuck anymore. And a beautiful technique that's helped me in my life is, you know, this technique called the emotional freedom technique, EFT. where you do tapping on certain parts of your body, and as you're doing it, you're, telling yourself things that are allowing you to let these all flow through without judgment and without resistance or attachment to any of these things, so that you can bring about a healthier flow. And so basically I start at the top of my head as I'm tapping, and I'm sort of telling myself, I don't resist any of these things, any of these emotions, any of these feelings, any of these energies, any of these thoughts that are coming through me. I don't resist any of it. I realize that they're all part of this wonderful dance of life. And to experience anything at all, we have to have this whole vast range of emotion, this vast, spectrum to bring contrast and comparison. And, move on down to tapping around your eyes, around and under your eyes, as you're telling yourself these things, and down underneath the nose, and telling yourself, I don't judge any of these things as being better or worse, actually, or more or less valuable, because they are all, showing me something, teaching me something in each moment, right? Our emotions are like a guidance system that's teaching us, how we're interacting with our environment at the moment. So no matter what arises, we can use it as a valuable tool and, observe it and learn from it. And so that's what I'm saying as I'm tapping. All of these things are valuable, and I'm not going to judge any of these things as being better or worse than any other. They're all beautiful. They're all part of me, and I accept them all. I love them all. And then tapping, right on the chin. And I'm saying to myself, I don't attach to or identify with any of these things, because all of these emotions, all of these feelings and thoughts and energies, they're all fleeting, right? They're always changing. They're coming and going. And yet I remain, I'm able to witness them coming and going, always shifting. Therefore, I know I must be more than these fleeting emotions, these fleeting energies that are always changing and shifting. And so I don't attach to them or identify with them. I simply observe them from my true space, as we're moving down to the collarbone and we're tapping. I'm realizing who I truly am. I'm remaining as the timeless witness, the observer of it all, simply allowing it all to flow freely, accepting whatever arises and loving it, and loving myself no matter what comes up. And so as you're doing all of these tapping exercises and telling yourself these things, you're creating that beautiful space to allow that emotion to flow through you now. And it's such a beautiful thing to shift your perspective about, what's really healthy, what's really acceptable. And you realize that no matter what arises, I must accept it completely and fully, because it's all happened for a reason. It's all a part of my experience, and I can't be resisting my experience, right? That's where all the suppression comes in. We're feeling like we're not supposed to be that way, but it's okay to be whatever way you are in the moment. You can tell yourself that, it's completely okay for me to be as I am now, how I am now, and to feel whatever I'm feeling and go through whatever it is I'm going through. That way we're not completely suppressing everything, because suppression is depression, right? Suppression and depression, they go hand in hand. We can become very depressed if we're not expressing ourselves. That expression, it helps us to expand, right? Expand our consciousness. And that's what I feel we're all here to do. We want to have that sense of growth in our lives. And we can become very stagnant if we're, not allowing all of that energy to flow. So, yeah, that's something that's really been helpful for me in my life. I just wanted to share it today, and it's such a beautiful blessing. I want to continue the conversation about emotions and ways to help bring about that free flow and expression. But that's just a nice little technique that I've found helpful for myself. So yeah, I hope it was helpful. I hope everyone has an amazing day. And just remember that whatever arises within you, it's perfectly okay. You don't have to feel ashamed about it. You don't have to feel like you're somehow less of a person just for going through certain things like sadness or anger or depression or frustration or any of these things. They're all just a beautiful part of your experience of life, and we have to learn to deal with anything that comes up. So yeah, that's it for today. Have an amazing day. Peace and limitless love.